Hello world, what's up everyone? Happy Monday, I guess you can call it. We had a few technical issues, but here we are. We wanted to make sure we put together the best show we can possibly do, so we said let's push it back a little bit, about maybe 30 minutes, make the build up, the anticipation get there, and hopefully it's there because it's hilarious. It's so much to talk about. I'm talking about with the two games, with a few rumors going on, a few coaching rumors that we're going to get to, and everything in between, because there was a lot of bets made, there was a lot of bets won, some lost. We're going to get to what happened, but before that, I got to get to my man Aaron Raywood. What's going on, Aaron?
Barry, what's up? Yeah, might help if I unmute my microphone and stuff like that.
It's a Monday.
Oh, good Lord.
It's a Monday. How's everyone doing? Shout out first. Let me give a big ups to everyone hanging out. Jesse Murillo at work saying he's on the headphones. Chuck D, Gavin's in the house. Joe Pro, Alex Villanueva, Biggie 713 Hour. Everybody, man, shout out to everyone hanging out. We're going to give you a good show today. I'm telling you, we're going to talk about everything because there is a lot to get to. I'm not going to say compared to last week's games, but they were awesome games, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. Like, unbelievable. We knew nothing was going to live up to divisional round hype. We knew, but I thought, we're going to watch a game that's a blowout, a game that, probably a 7-point game. We're good with that. But nope. Both of them. Almost down to, NFC wasn't down to the wire, but can we call it down to the wire with that interception out of nowhere that nobody saw coming on the tip drill? Come on.
It's funny, the irony. You know what? Let's get to that game right away. Again, if you want to get in on the show today, we've got the phone line open. We're going to try it. Again, this is all experiment. Let's get to it. 281-522-6336. It's going to be on the board at all times. If you want to get in on the show and voice whatever, if you had a good bet, if you had a bad bet, whatever it is, a bad beat, because if you had the Chiefs maybe on a teaser as I did, maybe you feel some type of way coming into this morning. You wake up and you say, how did that? Because my second piece of the teaser was the 49ers, which that was just fine at 10 points. So what happens with the championship game, AFC championship game, a tell that we just saw not long ago? And ironically, at halftime, it was the same margin. And ironically, the Chiefs were only able to score 3 points in that second half. I don't understand what's going on with this. I want to say that the better team won yesterday. I don't think the Bengals. I was looking at odds. There was some places preseason that had the Jaguars and the Bengals at the same odds for the Super Bowl. Think about that.
There was a Bengals fan that was drunk that hit it one time. And probably searching drastically through every piece of clothing they have when they were in Vegas or whatever. I got it somewhere. I dropped $10 on it. I believed. I knew. Yeah, you were drunk off your ass, but you're trying to find it now.
Words from Vegas that a $250 ticket was bet at huge odds. So that ticket's waiting right now. How did that ticket feel at the beginning of the game? Let's get into that game. If you have anything to say about the game, go ahead and get in. I'm telling you could call 281-522-6336. Or you can text that number, or you can hit us up on Twitch, on YouTube. We have everything going. That was the whole point of the delay. We wanted to make sure we could get everything going on every streaming device that you have on your phone that you can call in. I remember the first show, whenever the show ended, we saw a bunch of texts, and it was numerous people saying, hey, I want to be the first caller. So the very first caller to Odd Takes, you're going to go on the Hall of Fame. You're going to get a free month of the VIP service that I provide. A lot of people in here are members to that service. So first person to call, if you want to talk about anything that we talk out throughout this show, if you want to be the first caller ever, hit that number up, 281-522-6336. But going back to that game, so the game started. You started getting that feeling. This is about to be a rout. You just started getting that feeling. Mahomes was scrambling. He had the touchdown where he went one way and he went the other, and he found Kelsey, and Kelsey's doing the dance. He's out. He's acting like he's on vacation, and Mahomes is out here. It was a rout until it wasn't. Then, right before halftime, Samaje Perine gets a little screen that I wish it would have been to Mixon, because I had the Mixon total receiving yards over, so it stole from me. Either way, they punched a little bit. And you said, well, Mahomes can easily get back down there and get so much more points. We saw him do it last week with 13 seconds. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did. They drove down there. And then what I say, a phantom pass interference call, because I say by rule, by law, that was an uncatchable ball. I mean, Tyreek's going one way, the ball goes the other way, but then you think, man, that was weird. That something had to have happened. Well, Chiefs get it on the 1 goal line, and they can't get it in. And then Mahomes, with the last play before going into halftime, where you no timeouts, and you for sure can't afford to throw the ball inbounds to risk your player getting tackled and then getting out of that situation with no points. Well, that happened. And somewhere in your heart, just like last week when Brady started getting the breaks, the Bucks, and then Brady threw that touchdown, you started thinking, man, what if those Bengals came back? And I'll be damned, they did. And little bit by little bit, did you get that feeling, Aaron, at any point? Like, man, the Chiefs are in trouble at any point.
Yeah. After probably about halfway through that third quarter, I was like, they should have shut the door. Like, we've seen Joe Burrow. He's Captain Swagger all of a sudden. We've seen this in college. You had the opportunity to slam that door shut on him, and you didn't do it.
Let's take our first caller. 302. Who's on the line?
This is John Jensen. How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, how's it going? We got our first ever caller. Hey, the phone line worked. How's it going, my man? How's it going? Welcome to Odd Takes. Hopefully we're putting on some entertainment for you. How was your gambling weekend?
Everything was great. It was a lot of fun. I just want to say hi to Aaron as well. And I tried to call in on Friday, and as you know, the phone lines weren't working. I wanted to, if I can, I wanted to talk about these massive, awesome parlays that we've been hitting together as a member of the private group.
Yeah, talk on. Go ahead. The platform is yours.
Yeah. You had a 14-1 the other day. You had another big one the week before. I had a question about how I noticed that you're doing some parlays with the Asian totals, like 2 3/4 goals. How does, like, a 2 3/4 goal, if it only gets to 3, it reduces the whole parlay by half, or how does that work? And what happens if you do a 2 1/4 parlay? A half loses, so the whole parlay loses.
Okay, so for all that you couldn't understand, I know it's a little muffled. He's asking about Asian lines, and in soccer you hear that a lot. I get that question a lot because when you go to soccer and you see, for example, an over/under and it says 2.5/3, you ask yourself, well, what is that? Well, that means, say you were betting $100, 150 of that would go on 2.5, and the other 50 goes on 3. So basically, you split your bets amongst those. You also can see that 2.5/3 noted as 2.75. If they don't do it that way, you can see it. So if you ever see a line that says over under 3.25, what does that mean? Half of your money's on 3, half of your money's on 3.5. Now, as to his question as to what happens in a parlay, well, just think about it. If a game, if you have the over 2.5, 3, and it lands on 3, then you're going to get paid half. Like, say it was a straight bet, right? You would get paid for half of it because you hit the 2.5 angle of it, correct? So in a parlay, the same thing. It would digress. It would cut that payment in half. Exactly what would happen. And good call, man. Thanks. I'll get you. Reach out to me on private message, and I'll add a month. Again, I'm a man of my word. Everyone out there listening, again, hopefully you understood a little bit of that. He is a private group member. We hit a 14-1 parlay the other day. We've been hitting soccer wins. I did get my ass kicked a little bit yesterday, and we're gonna get back to the AFC Championship game because I had the over for the game. Remember, we talked about it here, but you said something. My man Jesse posted something. It was along the lines that all the money was coming in on the over. And you know how that happens in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
So then when all that money was coming over and it only went from 53.5 to 54.5, you started thinking to yourself, and you always remember this, I just didn't care. It was, man, the books aren't afraid. They're not afraid of that number where they hung it. They're taking a lot of money on the over, and it's not moving. They're not afraid. That doesn't mean it's going to be right or wrong. I knew that. And I thought, man, and we saw the first half. We saw how it played out. There was points. It was points at the end, and we thought, okay, let's get this going. We can't predict the Chiefs to score 3 second-half points. You just can't predict that. You ask yourself this question now, though. Where does this leave these Chiefs overall? Because it seems like when Mahomes got that big contract, astronomical, you could have gave him the keys to the city.
I think they did.
Right? You thought, okay, well, you can see him winning an easy 4 or 5 Super Bowls or whatnot. Is it a matter of that his competition is super stiff and he's going to have to duel Allen, Burrow, and all these guys for years to come?
Well, I mean, a big part of it is what are they going to build around him when they start having to pay him real big money? And something that's, I guess, overlooked, maybe I put too much stock in it compared to everybody else, is guess how many quarterbacks win a Super Bowl every year?
Uno.
1. How many starting quarterbacks are there in the NFL? 32. You're 1 out of 32. And most quarterbacks, now there are the greats that go on for 20 years, Tom Brady, which we'll get to later, but you go on 6 years, so you've got, 6 chances to be 1 of 32 6 times. I don't know what the kind of math is, but that's a lot. That's a very narrow window. And the Chiefs thought, he's a guy who's going to keep delivering and delivering. Look at the Astros. The Astros have hoisted that trophy once. They've been there 3 times in the last 5 years. Is that good enough? Or do you go, well, shit, we're paying this dude. We gave him part ownership of the city. He now owns part of the Royals too. Like, with everything we did to make sure that he is a lifelong Chief, is this going to be worth it if he only got us 1 Super Bowl?
What is the appropriate
What's your return
amount
on investment?
Yeah, and this goes out to everyone on Twitch, everyone on the text line. What would be the amount to pay off the money that they paid to Mahomes? 3 titles, 4 titles? This is being serious because it sounds easy to say 4 or 5 titles because you saw Brady be able to do more than that. But if you really think of it, let's think of it like the Packers, for example. And we've been hearing this come up. As good as Brett Favre was, and he's going to be in the record books, and he's going to be historically named as one of the top, maybe for sure 20 quarterbacks, you could throw him in that conversation. And then where does Rodgers? He for sure is probably going to be in the top 10 or 12. And between them, they only have those 2. So that goes to tell you that it's not easy. What I think we get spoiled to see what Brady is doing and thinking, man, this can happen again. I'm not sure I'm going to see it in my lifetime. Not what Brady did. And I'm not sure that Mahomes is panned out to because I thought maybe Brady was the kryptonite. Brady was the one that got him twice. Now he has flaws just like anyone else. He's not Superman.
No. And the benefit of the time we live in now with stats being what they are, medical technology, training technology, all this, we are about to see a run of some of the best quarterback play in the AFC that is going to be out there that might withstand the test of time between Mahomes, now Burrow, Josh Allen. I mean, these guys are coming out, and they're going. Herbert, I'm going to throw him on that list.
Yeah,
They're going to light the AFC on fire, and it's always going to be fun to watch because some of them might a little bit tip off, but if 3 of those guys of the current crop of quarterbacks you have in the AFC hold on for the next 10 years, it's going to be highly entertaining to watch.
Think about how the landscape of the NFL has changed. If you go back about 15, 20 years, it was a different, it was the Breeze, a different quarterback. Manning was on the call. So it was different. The Brady. Now you're going to have the Bills contending every year. Now the Bengals, the Chargers. These teams are it just the landscape changes, and that's where we are now. I'm excited to see where it goes from that angle because the AFC is never going to be wide open anymore. If the Bengals, I'm talking about the Bengals. If you're out there right now, just sit down and think about that right now. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl
after having the number 1 draft pick 2 years ago.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, that goes to say, you hire the right people, you put the right people in place, you can get a winner. And that's for everything. That's not just football. In business and everything. You put the right people in place, they will help you win at whatever you're trying to do. But you have to get the right people in there.
I saw a stat, something along the lines of this is the second time only that 2 number 1 picks are going to go against each other in the Super Bowl, the other one being Manning against Cam Newton. That's a weird stat, isn't it? It just weird because you figure a lot of number one picks are quarterbacks because usually if a team's bad, it's usually around the quarterback position. So there's a lot of chances. You're telling me in all these years this is only the second time? That's weird.
Yeah, and I haven't verified. I saw yesterday Joe Burrow now could be the first quarterback in history to win a Heisman, win a national championship in college, and win a Super Bowl.
Goodness.
Ever.
Is Joe Burrow for real in your eyes? Are you taking Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert right now?
Oh, yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
How about you, Twitch? Are you taking Herbert? 1 for Herbert, 2 for Burrow. Or should it be 1 for Burrow? 1 for Burrow. He's the one that's going to the Super Bowl. 1 for Burrow, 2 for Herbert. Let me know, Twitch.
You got to remember, Joe Burrow is doing this with a makeshift offensive line. How much we've seen this talk. Oh, well, the Texans should, see if they can send Tunsil to Cincinnati for a first-round pick because they have to protect Joe Burrow. He's doing this with a crap. You saw him in trouble yesterday. You saw him in the arms multiple times and just boop, bye.
I knew that was trouble. Whenever he ran that one, I said, man, this is trouble because I had that Kansas City Chiefs money line. And also in that game, something that needs to be talked about that's so crazy is at the end of that game, if you caught it, first off, they were all over the place, Romo and company. Second, that was a fumble by Mixon. Whenever that happened, if you watched at the end, when Mixon ran that ball in overtime, that was a fumble. He didn't give himself up. Then you got the commentator saying, Andy Reid's trying to challenge the formation, and illegal formation, and you can't challenge that. Of course you can't, you idiot. And that's not what he's challenging. He's challenging what everybody saw, that Mixon didn't give himself up. That ball came out. Now the referees come back, and now you're hearing that the referees caught it, that he gave himself up. That's not a reviewable play. They called it that the play's dead. But what happens on there? And the rule in overtime is that a coach can't challenge. And that's where the whole thing gets crazy. If there was a coach's challenge in overtime, then Andy Reid gets that challenge off and go back and look, that fumble. Instead, they said they call it, and it has to be to the booth. The booth said that there's no way, and that's where we are now. Again, just little things that you see throughout that game. Little things. At the very beginning of that game, the very first drive, Andy Reid calls a timeout before challenging a play that shouldn't even have to been challengeable because it was obviously a first down on that run. Everybody knew it. Ref comes in, spots it short. Instead of challenging Andy Reid, timeout. Man, it's just a timeout, Jerry. Chill out. First quarter. Yeah, that timeout would have came in real handy right before halftime when Mahomes threw it in bounds and they got tackled. Timeout. Little things. Little things. Let's switch from the same game. Little things like trash talk. Goodness, trash talk is what we're gonna do. Eli Apple took after the game to trash talk some of the players, saying he tagged, and the actual, here we go, we got a little slide show for you. The actual tweet reads, hey, Mecole Hardman and Cheetah, tagging both Hill, Tyreek Hill, and Mecole Hardman. DM me y'all number, and I'll hook y'all up with them Super Bowl tickets on me. Eli Apple? Eli Apple? If you watch that game, let's see what Twitter had to say about Eli Apple. Go to that next slide. What did Twitter have to say about Eli Apple? During that game, he was getting picked on. Look, then he went to Eli Apple, goes to Twitter again and says, oh yeah, the Chiefs cheetah pack finna hit away crazier than the second time. What in the hell got into Eli Apple? What were they drinking in that locker room? Because if you go to Twitter and you see Twitter's reaction to everything, you quickly see that he was getting smoked. Everyone was making jokes about Eli Apple, and he thinks it was proper to go and tag Mecole Hardman. Eli Apple had one play, maybe arguably the biggest play, which was that tackle right before halftime, the one that they couldn't get stop the clock. He made that tackle, yeah. I don't know about him running his mouth, not Eli Apple.
My thing is, I don't know what defensive or what offensive adjustments that were made or even discussed in the Chiefs locker room at half, But yeah, Eli Apple had that one play in the first half. Other than that, he was getting just burned by Tyreek Hill.
Burned.
So I don't know what Eric Bieniemy and what Andy Reid talked about, if it was brought up. I would have looked at Patrick Mahomes and gone, every time you get that matchup, you know what you're doing. Just like hey, let Kelsey run his own route. Just have one word where you look at Tyreek Hill and you go burn. And you just let him just fly and just chuck it up there because Eli Apple wasn't keeping up. Eli Apple sitting there talking shit on Twitter after winning got bailed out by his defensive line coming up and making Mahomes uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Because had Mahomes literally just looked at Tyreek Hill and said at, a quarter of the plays in the second half and said, Tyreek, burn. 3-step drop, just chuck it. Chuck it 60 yards, let him run under it. Game over. I think that could have happened had they planned it, but that defensive line bailed out Eli Apple, and Eli Apple wants to talk mess like, oh yeah, Tyreek Hill can't do shit on me. No, he was beating you.
Yeah.
He had you dead to rights multiple times. You got lucky.
There was a lot of
You
holding.
had a team around you that bailed your ass out.
There's a lot of jersey holding. You saw that the Chiefs were using their speed running across the field instead of deep. So you were seeing Tyreek Hill run across the field, Hardman this way, and obviously you can't keep up with those guys. How many times did you see the Bengals jersey grabbing, which it happens every time, but man, they got away with a lot. And then whenever you saw the Honey Badger do it on the other side, they threw it. It was disaster from every angle the way that went down for the Chiefs. It slowly but surely crumbled, and it starts out with little things like I told you, that timeout that was wasted. Then Mahomes didn't know. Mahomes threw that ball to Hill, and he turns around and tries to call a timeout. You're looking at him like, how are you not aware that there's not a timeout left? How did the coach not tell you one more time, just as a reminder, someone, hey, there's no timeout stuff. We can't get tackled in bounds.
Which that's your head coach and your offensive coordinator. Before you even go on the field for that drive, you look him in the eyes and you go, you have two timeouts total. Well, they had two, right? No, they have one or two left.
When?
On that final drive in the first half. Did they have both of them left, or they only had one?
I believe they had one going into that
But you
drive.
you look at him and you go, you get one chance. Other than that, you are spiking it immediately every time. You know what? We're going to save that. You're going to wait until the very end to use that timeout. You're not allowed to use the timeout, Patrick. You go up there, whatever you hit, you are sprinting to the line, and you are just spiking it every time. That's what we're doing.
It was terrible. It was terrible clock management. It was terrible the way, but at the same time, you knew right when they didn't get no points there, as you went to take your little halftime break and you walked around, you thought to yourself, man, is that going to come back and hurt them? And then whenever you thought, well, who gets the ball first? Chiefs. All right, well, let's see. And as soon as they made that stop, you knew it was coming. Something was coming. And exactly Joe effing Burrow is what we said the other day. Now we're checking in here. A lot of ones. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. So everyone's saying Burrow. And also Jesse says this is his first full year. Burrow hands down. Coming off that kind of injury.
The leadership skills he's got, and this has been said all day, all weekend, people going, oh, I covered him in college. I covered him at Ohio State. I saw what this kid had. Obviously, the Bengals knew what they had the second that they watched him play in college, and they were like, that's our guy. And story came out earlier this week or last night that apparently the Dolphins wanted Burrow so bad. Well, Tua was sitting right there too, and went, we'll give you 3 first-round picks. We have 3 of them this year. We'll give you all 3. We just want to move up to the number 1 pick because they couldn't tank correctly.
Reports have surfaced that the Dolphins offered 3 first-round picks so they can move up and get Burrow.
Now, Zach Taylor already came out and said, I never heard that. He goes, whoever answered that call did the smart thing because there was no way. That Burrow was our guy. They could have offered us 100 picks over the next 5 years. Wouldn't have happened. Don't care.
Instead, they got a can of Tua tuna. Man, Herbert also could have been had. The AFC is bright, and I'm glad that we're gonna get that Manning Brady died down. It's not gonna die down. It's not gonna die down. We're gonna keep getting these kind of games. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of games going down to the end in every scenario going forward, every playoff scenario when it involves these teams. It's never gonna be. I mean, as a 7-point, They're never gonna hang a 7-point line on those Bengals on the road like that again with Burrow. You'll never. He's gonna be that guy that's like 7's too much. They were getting way too many points every single game, just like the Niners were getting points every single game down this road.
I mean, we're sitting there at what? I haven't checked the latest line. What, 4? Bengals are getting 4.
Opening at 4. I'm sorry.
That's got to go up.
Oh, definitely goes up. You took the words out of my mouth. It definitely goes up. If you think that the line goes up, put in your input here. We got 30 minutes into the show? I'm a little off because we started at a different time. We're 30 minutes into the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, it's the Not 100% Club. I'm not 100%. That's what we're going to get to next on Odd Takes. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're not going to keep you waiting too long. We've already made you wait once. We're not going to make you wait again. So a short break, just a little bit of time to put a little bit of powder on the head and a little bit of I'm not 100% sure club. That's what we're going to get to. We're going to need your input on this. You're going to see how this works. It's the I'm not 100% club of things that we're not 100%. Aaron's idea yesterday was like, man, I'm not 100% about a lot of things. For example, Tom Brady. Are we 100% that he is retiring?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, we've seen this, all weekend now? We've got Adam Schefter coming out. Oh, Tom Brady's gone. Ian Rappaport picks it up. Fox News picks it up. CNN picks it up. Tom Brady's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Then Tom Brady goes, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not gone. I haven't said anything. And then his dad comes out and goes, he hasn't told me anything, and I'm his best friend. He hasn't told me anything. So, still, this hangs in the balance. And now today it's, oh, well, Tom Brady, he has to hold on through next week to announce his retirement to get his extra money.
That's exactly what it is.
But maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. You know Tom Brady. The same joke everybody made. Tom Brady is so vengeful. Is it going to surprise you if he goes, fuck it, I'm playing one more year? Just because you guys decide to leak this shit without telling me, and, oh, well, somebody in my inner circle said he's retiring. You think he's not going to go, I'm going to do this one more year just to piss you guys off? Just to make you guys look like the losers that you are.
Aaron's not 100% that Tom Brady's retiring. Are you 100% Twitch? Is he 100% retiring? Let me know right now. What's up, Twitch? Me? I think he's 100% retiring. Now, there's a good theory. You know, everyone's going to come out with theories. One theory tells that, you know how he's filming that Man in the Arena?
Man in the Arena.
That on that, he had mentioned it to someone and they got out, and that's connected to ESPN. Someone went and told Schefter what they knew was coming, which is dirty. And I think that's what it is. He's more mad that, man, I wanted to do this. It's Tom Brady. He was going to do it right before that Super Bowl, maybe. You know, some cool commercial. All of a sudden, you're sitting there in the Super Bowl and your jaw drops and everyone's just like, man, imagine if Brady retiring would have been a Super Bowl commercial.
There's no doubt he would have probably done it that way. You know he would have done it that way. But now, this is the problem with everybody wanting to be Adam Schefter, Adrian Wojnarowski, Ian Rappaport. Everybody wants to be that guy who's got the breaking news. Like, no. It's the same as the dude who, when they signed Patrick Mahomes' deal, he talked to the chick at the liquor store who called up somebody and was like, hey, somebody assistant for the Chiefs just came up and bought 3 cases of champagne and a bunch of liquor. And I asked if there was a celebration. They said, yeah. It was the middle of freaking July.
Everyone uses sources. Sources. You don't even know what source that is. But again, if you're 100%, let's get to the next one. Are you 100% on legalized gambling in Texas? Do you think that it's 100% going to happen in the next 10 years? That's the timeline. Legalized gambling in Texas. Because if you're from here, boy, you don't see it in sight. It seems like it's rough. Let's get to, now we see Louisiana right next door. Louisiana's taking sports bets now. They've had casino. We've tried the casino here with the offshore ferry. Didn't work. We've tried a few things. Now, if you want to play slot machines, you got to go to a backdoor alley behind a Fiesta. And you're going to get back there and you're going to drink keg beer for free all day. And as soon as those laws come in knocking, Mr. Bo, no, it wasn't me. That's exactly 10 years. Do you think it's going to happen?
No, not 100% sold on that.
Why?
There's too much money from Louisiana, Arkansas, New Mexico, Oklahoma that say, hey, this is our income. This you open up legalized gambling in Texas, our entire revenue just plummets. The only thing I could see is, Daddy Tillman right down the road from us going into Texas Congress and going, economy's been hurting. I can employ this many people. You let me open up a casino. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spots around the state where I could open them real quick like that. You want to help your people, or do you want to keep feeding money into another state? But that's all it's going to take. It's him. He's the one who's going to have to pull those strings.
And he can. He's got that kind of pull. No pun intended, but he's got that kind of pull. He could pull those kind of strings. Chuck D says legalize it. Legalize what? I know you. Legalize what? Because that's another question. What gets legalized first in Texas? Is it gambling or is it legalized marijuana? Which gets legalized first? 1 for gambling in Texas or 2 for marijuana? What do you think, Twitch? I'm not sure.
I really don't know. Part of me says it's probably going to be marijuana, but I mean, I guarantee that both of them will not be legalized in 5 years from now.
We're getting a lot of marijuana.
One or the other will be, but not both.
The other day I was reading some reports and some are circling for the bud movement in Texas 2025, supposedly. And now the question is, does gambling have any chance in those 3 years? Because if not, we set odds here. Remember, we set Kanye at minus 1,200 to beat up Pete Davidson. Now we got to set odds on the Texas over, under, or actually which goes first. And I think that we would have to put the marijuana, Mary Jane, at maybe what, minus 200, 2-1 favorite that it goes first.
I don't even think I'd put them both at a minus. I think they're both still so unlikely to happen. This is like a Super Bowl futures bet for 4 years down the line. I think marijuana probably at 220, gambling at 600.
There you have it.
That's
folks.
my opinion.
No,
everybody in Twitch, you guys can text in, type in on Twitch chat. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm an idiot. But that's how I see it. Weed plus 200 within the next 5 years. Gambling plus 600.
Suspect says gambling has no chance. Like Aaron said, with Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, they're all looking at us like, y'all don't even try to get cute. Like y'all just keep growing tobacco or whatever it is y'all got. Y'all got plenty of money from you got the ports down here. Get your own money. Don't come digging into ours. You go to Lake Charles and pull up to the Golden Nugget, and you'll see nothing but Texas plates.
Yep. Do it in Oklahoma too. They got that one right across the border in Oklahoma too.
That's our money. That's our Texas money. Keep it in the state. Legalize it. Let's go on. We are not 100%. Anything that you're not 100%, go ahead and type it in on Twitch or the text line. Again, 281-522-6336. You can text. What are you not 100% on? Because Aaron's not 100% that Joe Burrow isn't, Joe Burrow isn't a Macaulay Culkin clone. When I saw that,
I really think he was created in a lab. They took the DNA they took a little bit of Michael Jordan DNA. They took a little bit of Dan Marino DNA. They found a woman who would host it. And then they were like, well, we got to make this kid look somewhat nerdy just in case this doesn't work out, because we can't have like a Tom Brady, a Brad Pitt looking guy who everybody's going to look at a medical experiment like that and go, oh, he's too pretty to kill off. So they had to make him Macaulay Culkin. So they took some of that DNA and they're like, hey, let's make him look like Macaulay Culkin, but let's make him play like one of the greatest athletes of all time if you put them all together.
I feel like this picture gives me a pretty good reflection of what Macaulay Culkin would have looked like older if he didn't do drugs.
If he worked out.
Because we seen Macaulay.
Yeah.
Macaulay's hitting something. Macaulay's not home alone. He's having people over and they're throwing parties. I know a partier when I see one. Type in Macaulay Culkin right now in your Google. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He's a little bit run down. He looks like a Johnny Knoxville rundown. Another one that just, whoa. Either way, if Macaulay Culkin never did drugs, he would have turned into Joe Burrow. And instead, this is what we have. Let's get to the next one. I'm not 100%. Again, if you're not 100% about something, I'm not 100% that the Texans are really a professional team. What does that tweet read?
This says right here, the NFL loves Bengals going to the Super Bowl because it proves that any team can turn it around, all the way around in only 1 year, except the Texans and the Jags. That's from our buddies at Pro Football Talk. Yeah. Everybody knows it's true.
Every organization should wake up today and feel, knowing that the Bungles, you remember the Bungles, are going to the Super Bowl. Every organization should feel, man, if we put the right pieces together, we can make this happen. Look what the Bengals did in that division. But can the Texans have that same sentiment? That they wake up and say, you know what, Avis Mills, get out there. There's some teams that haven't. I mean, we're talking about the Bengals, though. The Bengals. Does that leave the door open for anyone?
No, I'm not convinced that the Texans are a legit professional franchise out there in the world. Ooh. I really think that they're just there to, exist, make Cal some money, make Mama McNair some money now. Like they're not real anymore. Man,
this is a good one. Chuck D. I'm not 100% Watson is better than Mills. Is it because the 4 wins? What is it? Or is it that Mills has exceeded expectations? What is it? What would make you believe that? Because, again, I don't know if it's maybe because the baggage that's attached to him. that you maybe say, you know what, I'd rather just take Mills and see what happens? Or would you go back in time and say, man, I wish we could just erase this and I wish we could have good Deshaun back?
Now, Chuck, I think you're jumping the gun on that one. I wouldn't say a Watson isn't better than Mills. I'll 100% give you, I don't know that Watson is better than Joe Burrow. I don't know that Deshaun Watson at his peak would be hands down a better quarterback than Joe Burrow to lead an organization. Take off the field stuff. Doesn't matter. The actual athlete on the field. I do not know that Deshaun Watson and the brain that he has for playing the game and the arm that he has and the legs is not comparable to Joe Burrow, and that Joe Burrow doesn't edge him out slightly.
Burrow or Watson? That is the question. That's a tough one. Again, but look how much things changed because we didn't know what Burrow was going to end up being this season.
And I mean, we got recency bias. We just watched Joe Burrow beat, the number 2 team in the AFC after beating the number 1 team in the AFC. So yes, we got some recency bias there
on the road.
I don't know if you would have started them both at the exact same point in the NFL, and you take away the off-field stuff, I don't think Joe Burrow has a worse career than Deshaun Watson does. I think Deshaun Watson would fade away faster than Joe Burrow.
Yeah. I mean, it just look how quickly things changed because if at the end of last season you would have said, man, Herbert is got a guy, and then all of a sudden Burrow does this, now you start questioning yourself. You start asking yourself the same thing with – think about this. The Bengals were looked down upon because they didn't get more offensive linemen to protect Burrow. Instead, they went and got Burrow's homeboy, the one that he needed, the connection. Then we got Jamar Chase. Did that work out for him? Penei Sewell is the name that popped up in many places. You think if they got Penei Sewell, would they be here? No. So sometimes you just got to take that chance, although they did have offensive line problems that we saw against the Titans. Here are the Cincinnati Bengals still about to punch their way into the Super Bowl, trying to if the Bengals were to win the Super Bowl, the world's coming to an end. I mean, think about that. If somebody would have told you 10 years, 8 years ago, whatever, the Bengals are going to win that Super Bowl, you think, man, a lot of things have to happen for the Bengals to win. So the Texans fan, if you're out there listening, Lions fan, Bears fan maybe has a little bit of anxiety going into this season, maybe thinking, could things turn around? We'll see.
I don't know. Poor Jesse sitting there realized that this weekend Texans are never winning a Super Bowl, and he's a season ticket holder. Jesse, I'd say you just keep that money in your pocket. You know what you can do with that kind of money that you're paying to Cal McNair every year and Jack Easterby every year? Keep that money. What is season tickets? Why? Stop paying into an organization that doesn't like you. They've pointed it out. They do not like you. They like your money. They don't like you.
And that's a big thing.
And you're just going to keep handing it over. I'm not telling you how to live your life, but if I were a season ticket holder, I would have just canceled them real quick.
And a lot have. You see that names are coming up. They're calling you like, hey, you look at you're like, who is this? The Houston Texans? You wouldn't even return my phone calls a few years back. That's funny. Now they're offering maybe a few concession packages to go along with the season ticket. I don't know. It's going to take a while to get that fan back, especially with this rebuilding process. I think it takes a while.
Do we see them offering the free beer package like the Rockets did? You buy your 4 tickets, we'll give you a beer and a popcorn. Do we see them doing that in 2023 or 2022-23 for a game?
They need to give free. Remember that inside the bubble where you could drink like unlimited Crown and all that? They need to have that for all fans. You can only chill in here for about 20 minutes and then let's move them out, because that was, remember at one time and at one point in time, buying that extra ticket that was like $100 and something to go to the practice dome and get in there and eat unlimited food and drink. They even had Crown. You're just tanking drinks, getting ready to go inside the game. I wonder what that looked like inside. If the stadium looked empty, did that still get people, or did they say, man, we can't, I mean, we're not selling enough tickets?
No. Because you would go and you would get drunk, and then you'd go right back out to the tailgate and you'd watch real football with everybody else while you eat their food for cheaper.
I'm not 100% sure that the Browns can't do what the Bengals did this year with Baker at quarterback. Baker. I'm out on Baker. I'm out. You in on Baker?
I'm half in, half out. I'm like one of those Asian lines in soccer. Like something tells me that I want to say no. I want to say I'm out.
He
He
said
can't
he's
do
like
it.
an Asian.
But I
lion
know
in
the
soccer.
second I do it, he's gonna prove me wrong. And then every listener that I've ever encountered in my life at one point is gonna hit me up on social media. You idiot! You said Baker Mayfield was done and he couldn't do anything. I don't really care whether he does it or not. I don't have any attachment to him. I don't personally. I don't like him. I don't dislike him. I don't care. His progressive commercials are funny.
Well, they could hit me up too because I'm out on Baker. Let's get over to the next slide. I'm not 100%. What are you not 100% on Twitch? Give us some. You remember It's Pat? I'm not 100%. What is that? It's Pat. What is that? This was my submission. Are you 100% sure what he is? It is. She is. This movie terrified me as a kid.
Well, you remember? Are you old enough to remember it as an actual SNL skit?
Yes. No.
Okay.
And so I remember it, and then someone again, because I spoke about it on Twitter. It was a good conversation, and someone said, "Man, it does tell what it is. You have to go back and watch this and this," and I just never did. So to me, I still don't know if you go. It was probably one of the worst movies ever made, but I remember that movie vividly. And I remember one thing. Just imagine a movie like, look how far we've come. This entire movie was about, even the cover from this movie was a question mark. It was It's Pat, and it was a question mark. He's in the shower and people are trying to run by to get a little peek. And the whole movie is based around, I'm not 100% sure. Let's keep going.
Although I will say that looks like Jonah Hill in Superbad.
That's
Tell me I'm wrong.
No,
Tell me I'm wrong.
That's a good call. I'm not 100%. That's not Jonah Hill. I'm not 100%. Is Patrick Mahomes what I thought he was? If you would ask me, we talked about earlier, whenever that contract right before that, I was thinking, yeah, that's a bargain. This guy's going to move over Brady. And then that one playoff game, wherever there was an offsides that happened, and then they took the ball back because if that offsides doesn't happen, a neutral zone infraction by the Chiefs lineman. Then there was a pick right after that. Brady doesn't win that Super Bowl. But instead, he lost. And then the following year, we'd get Brady Mahomes in a Super Bowl. And you ask yourself, well, this is it, Mahomes. If you're ever going to be on that level, there's no way you're going to lose to him twice at the end of his career, Brady, and then we can never throw them even, no matter what. I mean, what would Mahomes have to do now, Aaron, right now, to win, to ever be on that Brady level? Now that we've seen him lose twice to Brady, at Brady in his late age Brady, not going to say worse Brady because you saw Brady at his best, but he couldn't beat Brady at his end of his career. On his last year with his old team, he couldn't beat him on his new team. And then now he loses to Burrow at home as a 7-point favorite. I'm not 100% that he's who I thought he was. I thought he was going to be the greatest thing ever to football.
I don't think his story is over yet. I think we could still look up 10 years from now and he's got 2 more Super Bowls under his belt. But at the same time, friends of ours have pointed out in the past, what happens when you put a ring on it? What happens when you start, getting her pregnant? Career. Off a cliff. Is this the Brittany, what's her last name, Matthews? Brittany Matthews curse on Patrick Mahomes' life?
Just imagine having to go home to that. Like, you get home, you're pissed off, you open the door, you throw down your bag, season's over, so you took a little bit of things off the locker. You're like, man, let me take this home now. This means something to me. You get home, you open the door, honey, I'm home. And then you got Jackson dancing his ass off in the front room. He's in there with strobe lights. He has a glow sticks in his mouth. Fucking Jackson Mahomes out here dancing and shit. And you just got home from a tough loss. Meanwhile, you got wife probably drunk as hell.
No, she's pregnant. She can't. I'd hope not. She's not.
Oh,
drunk
no.
Right now.
But they had they're pregnant again?
No, she is pregnant still.
I thought they had the baby already.
Did she?
I might be out of
No,
here.
she might have.
Okay, either way, is there not a worse situation than what he has right now? Right? He's a young guy, and these are the people he surrounds himself with? Like, these are the siblings that you have? You can't tell me that man, that's just a bad scenario to be in.
I stand corrected. They did have the baby.
Okay,
already.
yeah. I figured because I
So,
saw
yeah,
her drinking, I was thinking
she
goodness.
might be.
Yeah. So again, you saw her spraying champagne. I mean, then she comes out with an anti-bullying campaign. because who's the bully? We've seen her fighting in opposite stadiums. Like, really? That's what we're going to call a bully? What she's doing all of a sudden because she feels bad because people are coming at her because she's spraying fans with champagne. Goodness, bullying campaign. I want to know how much that bullying campaign raised. Are we 100%? Give me the next one. And this is the last one. And this kind of goes into what we talked about earlier that Aaron said. What quarterback would I build my team around? I'm not 100%. Look at the guys just on this graphic, and you can throw in some more. If you had it at your disposal right now and you're building a team, who are you taking? We just compared Burrow to Herbert. Okay. And many said Burrow. So now let's take Burrow. Let's put Burrow up here. Is it Burrow? Has Burrow touched the Allen stage yet to where you were willing to take a chance after what you see from Allen? Or is Allen still a little bit of what we expect from Burrow? What do you think, Twitch?
I still think I've got Josh Allen rated a little bit ahead of Joe Burrow. I'm probably wrong on it, but I think Josh Allen still has the higher ceiling. Joe Burrow is a great leader. He's a great athlete. He understands the game. He understands the position. But I feel like Josh Allen has more physical tools and has a better physical arm than him. Mm-hmm. And you've got Aaron Rodgers right here. You've seen that arm, that flick of the wrist for 60 yards, that goes away last. The brain and the arm are right there. Now, you've seen it happen with Peyton Manning falling off of a cliff when he was throwing ducks out there in a Super Bowl, but I think Josh Allen has a better upside than Joe Burrow does, or a higher upside.
No, it makes sense. I'm right there with you. There's tiers to this, and I know a lot is instant reaction, and we're going off of recency bias because what we just witnessed, and we're shocked. But then you still got like a Rodgers right there, and you're thinking, man, if we spoke about Mahomes in the way we did, saying, man, maybe 2 or 3 Super Bowls would be good for the length of his career, of what he got signed, not career, but for that contract. What's to say that Aaron Rodgers at that age right now, coming off MVP type season, can't do it on a new team that's got a good team? Would you take Rodgers with the chance that he can win you 2 if he's got maybe 4 years left? Would you rather have 4 years of Rodgers, or you take 6, 7, 8, or 10 years of these guys, actually, because they got 10?
I'd probably take more of Josh Allen. Rodgers has proven that he gets distracted easily, whether it's by women, whether it's by media, whether it's by excess jobs, aka Jeopardy, vaccine nonsense, all that crap. Rodgers has proven to me that while he is amazing, he cannot keep his head on the field.
Yeah.
Other stuff takes away his attention all the time, and he lets it. And he gets away with it because he's so great. Awesome. You see some of the greatest musicians in the world who just piss it away because they couldn't focus on the one thing that made them great, being a musician. They got too into the girls or too into the drugs or too into the touring. Aaron Rodgers, think about what he could be if he literally, I'm not saying don't have a wife, don't have a family, all that stuff, but don't get distracted by all the other outside noise. Understand when you wake up every single morning, if he did the Brady method, when Brady's feet hit the ground, as of right now, the first thing that goes through his head is, I'm a quarterback. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has had that thought in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years easily. His feet don't hit the ground when he steps out of bed going, I'm a quarterback, how do I get better? I'm a quarterback, how do I perfect my game? I think that he gets out of bed and his brain goes through all this stuff and then it lands on football and he looks in the mirror and goes, yeah, I still got it. I'm still physically gifted enough. I can, squeeze a couple more million out of this arm. Let's do that.
And that's how talented it goes to show you that Rodgers probably is, because Brady, that it was a lifestyle for him, from the eating habits. I mean, the guy never even ate cheese. He quit eating cheese just for the fact that he knew that it caused inflammation. So then they told him, don't eat cheese. Just little things. That's why when you saw Brady get drunk after that Super Bowl, it was surprising. Like when you saw him, you're like, whoa, Brady can't even walk out of a place? Like, wow, this is crazy.
Well, that's what happens when you eat like that, too. You can't drink for anything. So he probably, had a shot and a half and a thimble?
Imagine that. Imagine that hangover if you're not a drinker like that, and then they just drug him out. Imagine him when you wake up with a hangover from a night of drinking that you're almost damn near blackout drunk, and you wake up, and you're like, man, I wonder what the hell I did wrong yesterday. Like where you're like, did I say or do anything wrong? I'm hungover. Imagine Brady. He woke up like, man, did I do anything stupid? He goes straight to the social medias and he sees himself walking out like Weekend at Bernie's. They're holding him up like Bernie. I'm like, damn, Brady. I feel that. I mean, these boys were throwing around the Lombardi Trophy. I mean, these boys made a party.
Yeah. I don't know that Aaron. So the question being, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers short term, 4 years, versus any of these other 3 guys for the next 8 years?
Yeah, if Rodgers can get you 2 in those 4, and these guys, if they got 2 in those 8 years, that'd be a win right now, right?
Yeah.
That's a win.
Again, go back to my point. How many quarterbacks win a Super Bowl every year? 1.
Ugh. Let's move on to the NFC game. Let's go back to the topics. Let's get to the NFC game because we got caught up on that. But hopefully you like all the and if you have any intake on this, I'm talking about if you're saying, no, man, you're looking at the wrong guys. You didn't even put Mahomes up there. We're not saying I still got Mahomes on that Josh Allen level. I do. I still got him up there. But if you would have asked me, like I said on the previous slide, if you would have asked me a few years ago, I mean, Mahomes, there was to me he was untouchable. To me, he was just the next coming. Football had never seen. I'm not sure of that anymore, man. He can have that on certain plays, but then on certain plays, his boneheaded mistake sets him back. But there was another game yesterday. 49ers visited the Rams in a matchup that we've seen a lot of talk. We heard a lot of it as far as Shanahan versus McVay and how bad Shanahan dominates McVay. And a lot of cappers use that, taking the 3.5, which ended up cashing. But if you had the 49ers to win that game outright, you might feel a certain way. Niners came out, did what they were supposed to. Little back and forth affair. Not very many points, a lot of field position. But then in the fourth quarter, something that sticks out to me from this game is the dropped interception from the 49ers. You knew Matt Stafford was going to make a mistake at one point. He just has those moments. 3-point game in the fourth quarter. You have the lead. Stafford throws a ball. It's a fair catch, basically, at that point. And he catches that ball. He can run. Drops the ball. Very next play, Odell Beckham for 32 yards and a personal foul. So not only did you not intercept the ball, you gave up a 32-yard play and then a 15-yard penalty, a 47-yard play. What can you do? Shanahan goes vanilla in that second half. Doesn't do any misdirections, doesn't do anything, just goes, let's let Jimmy roll out here and run a regular offense. I mean, Trey Lance is sitting there. If at any point when you aren't moving that ball, do you at least run a gadget play, something? You didn't have nothing? Shanahan, being the guy he is, didn't have anything for Lance. Anybody. I look at, where's Kittle? Like, what happened? Just that game in general, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth because I'm not sure that the Rams, I still don't know if the Rams deserve to be there. I'm not sure. I guess the Packers, I wanted the Packers. I think the Packers were the better team, the best team, and they got caught slipping. Does home field mean anything anymore as far as like these 1 seeds, 2 4 seeds?
I'd see, this is the problem is that in the AFC, you saw Arrowhead, you heard Arrowhead, it was rocking. Out at SoFi, I don't know if home field meant anything because you couldn't tell who was actually the home team. You had so many Niners fans there, and you had so many Rams fans or quote-unquote Rams fans that are now just went, oh, hey, we have a football team? Oh, cool, I got a couple $1,000s to burn, that were there yelling. So, I don't know. I don't know what home field means anymore. I don't know if it means a 3-point swing in games anymore.
No.
Because these players, and we saw it all last week, videos from outside Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. It was louder than loud, and they had piped in crowd noise into that stadium for every practice and would just keep turning it up, every time something good happened, turn it up even louder to make sure that Joe Burrow knew and the entire offense could communicate in all of that noise, and it worked. I don't know, with the technology we have now, with teams being able to do this kind of stuff and prepare their teams when you have the right coach, I don't know if it's 3 points to be at home field anymore. College is different, but NFL stadiums, I don't know.
you had McVay begging for fans to buy tickets. You know it's LA. I'm seeing tickets for that, even in the nosebleeds. It's I think I like 5,600, 5,800 right now for that Super Bowl opening up. It's going to be LA. It's going to be expensive. Just that halftime show, you're going to get a concert, basically. You're getting a whole concert. If there was ever a time, this is the first Super Bowl year where you don't just go waste time during halftime, and you're going to look and, man, this is actually some performance. I'm curious to see how it goes, and it's going from years forward. Are they going to start just putting on some real acts now that people want to see instead of just these old big names? What were they thinking? Let's end the show. We've gone a little bit over. We started a little late. Let's get out of here. Let's go to what were they thinking? This is something we're going to do once a week. We're going to say, what in the hell were they thinking? What the F were they thinking? What were they thinking when this happened? And again, you can go ahead and put in any of your things that you want to get to. What were they thinking?
What were you thinking?
What were they thinking? What do we got on that slide? And again, if you want to give in your input, 281-522-6336. Should be another window.
Verizon halftime report, the official 5-speed network of the NFL. Verizon.
Sorry about that, guys.
Last week, he's got time filled and he's burning them.
You know what the first slide is. (281) 522-6336. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical issues here trying to get the slide pulled up for you. I think at this point we're having some technical issues. We might have to end the show here, guys. Sorry about it. Yeah, let's end the show here, man. Let's end the show here. Sorry, guys. We try to put this stuff together. We're starting.
Let's just talk
the show.
about it. I mean, the number one thing was that halftime performance at Arrowhead. You were watching it. Everybody was watching it. CBS Sports goes there. They've got their table right there on the halftime. And then let's see if we can get this to play this time and see if you can hear how this went.
Verizon halftime report, the official 5-speed network of the NFL. Verizon. That's the Sprout. We love it. Great nominated singer-songwriter. Last week, he's got time filled and he's burning them.
Now, you can see from there, they have a giant tower of speakers right in front of them. What were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
Now, okay, what was the CBS guy thinking? Because they plot this stuff out the week of. They have whole crews that show up and they look at, hey, this is what we got here. We're going to put the team here. We're going to have... And you also have stadium people who line it up and they practice this stuff. And they have rehearsals. They have rehearsals the night before. They have rehearsals pregame, all this stuff. Not one of them looked at each other and went, we should probably figure out something. Like, we both can't be doing this thing right here.
It's got to be one of the worst things.
What were you thinking?
I thought about that, too. It's like, what is going on here? Someone got in trouble today over that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Someone had to. Because
multiple people got called into multiple offices. And they literally, they walked in, their boss is sitting there, hands on desk.
What were you thinking?
And that's how we're going to end the show. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? Again, we are going to start from 1 to 2 every single day, Monday through Friday. So every weekday, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Sometimes we'll go over if there's an encore to be had. Shout out to everyone that hung out today. Crystal, I see Crystal's checking in late. B. Hannon, Chuck D, everyone. Jesse, thank you so much for checking in. And sorry for the technical issues. We're getting things fixed. You see, we're trying to add a lot of moving parts. A lot of these streams that go live nowadays, you see them, and it's just the person sitting there talking. There's nothing to it. We're trying to make it more like a TV show, make it run like that. So it's a lot more moving parts that we're trying to get situated. But I think we got it good. We got it right, and we're gonna get things going again tomorrow at 1 p.m. So I'm going to sign off for my man Aaron. Anything you got to say before we get out of here?
Nah, man, y'all be safe out there. This weather sucks. That's why we started late.
The weather
Stupid
sucks.
rain.
Yeah, stay safe. Stay safe out there. And we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Same number, though. Same number. We'll save that 281-522-6336. That's going to be a number for you to call in every day. Give instant reactions. As we get going here, we're going to have a lot more. I'm going to get some live betting stuff going where you guys are going to be able to watch live betting and get bets and whatnot. So signing off, that's Aaron. I'm Jerry Bow. This was Odd Takes, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.